Hey, Closet Busters, come on and gather around. It's time once again to kick down those closet doors of life. We're here to escape our BS, explore our fears, and elevate our self-expression. I'm your host, Rick Clemens, bold move expert and coming out coach, and I'm going to take you to the party, the pulpit, the wake, and back to the party of living your life uncloseted. So come on, grab hold of yourself and get ready to step out, step up, and step into living your truth as we explore more stories, tips, and tricks for living your life uncloseted. Now let's get to the show. Hey there, Closet Busters, and, well, you know, bold move makers. That's what I call you guys. A little pet name there. So you know what this is. This is Life Uncloseted, and we're here to say, you know what? Screw it. I'm kicking down the closet doors of my life. I'm going to do things my way. I'm setting myself free. And we're going to live out of the closet with no frickin' apologies. So I want you just imagine for a moment being one of those kids in class that you're the good kid, you want to help others, you always want to contribute, and the teacher's like, well, that's nice. I can give you an A- for that. And you're like, what the fuck? I want my A. Well, let me tell you what happened with our guest today. This started to become a real pattern in her life, that as much as she tried to bring her personality, which is really big and really beautiful, to everything in life, she started seeing that she kind of got these check, like got it done, check, and then a minus after everything she did. And then she realized what she had to do to really get just the check, just the A, just the B, was to succumb to what other people wanted. And suddenly, before she knew it, she brought all this into her life as an adult, and it became the pattern. Until one day she said, oh, screw it. This isn't working for me. This is shit. It's time to do something that makes me a happy person. So I just got to tell you, I'm so excited to have my fellow coach. Her and I are like mischief makers together. We're our own little version of Will and Grace, trust me. And you're going to hear a few snorts, and I'm not talking like the crappy put up your nose. You're going to hear a snort every once in a while as we have fun today talking about let's get the check minuses out of our life. Welcome my really good friend, Just Raechel. Yes, like just Jack, okay?
Just Raechel.
Just Raechel. And Just Raechel is like just beginning to thaw her little booty out because she's been up in that northern area of the country going through the snowstorm. So sure. Just Raechel is thawing out. But I'm so glad she could make it to our little corner of the closet. Literally, I'm recording in the closet, folks. And I think I've talked about this since I moved into, the new Uncloseted studio is literally in the wine closet, which isn't a bad place in my house these days. No. I was telling Raechel earlier, if a guest is really boring, I have a cork and ready to just, I keep a wine glass, a corkscrew here, and we're ready to roll. But okay, so enough of this. You can see where this could all go for the next 30 minutes. We could just do this the whole time. And we can, and we derail pretty easily. So, but let's get back on the rails. So I love this check minus thing. And it's a fascinating concept to me because I kind of was in the same sort of place, but a little bit different. But start bringing some of this to light, Raechel, because it really was about you like, hey, I'm trying to be the good kid, right? I'm trying to do the right thing in class.
Right, absolutely. And, it actually, of course, it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized this, but...
I didn't know you were an adult yet.
I know, I'm sorry, you're right. Nearing adulthood.
Okay, there we go.
As I was nearing adulthood. Right. So, in hindsight, and actually part of it came to my awareness because my mom was going through all her old papers, and getting rid of stuff and gave me my report cards. And I was looking through them and I'm like, wow, I was a really good student, but I always got minuses. I got check minus, I got A minuses. And when I look back at like what they were, it was all for stuff like I was like overactive in class. Like I raised my hand too many times. I helped too many people and it was disruptive to the class. I was the last one to go to recess because I wanted to help others. So there was like, yeah, you did good. And
oh, the lovely yes ands. Oh, those are the worst in life, right?
Right.
Well, actually, yes ands can be really good, but then there's the yes ands that are like, yes, and you really need to not do this.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I realized that I just started carrying that throughout my entire youth and into, my teenage years and into my adult years. And it really has kind of plagued me in a way because I think really the best analogy is my true self became muted over time because I was in this constant pursuit of the check plus.
Okay, I'm sitting here laughing because I'm trying to envision Raechel being muted. I think I need to go see my psychiatrist after this show because I just had like a huge, oh my God, that it's impossible. But I get it because this is where the uncloseting stuff starts to happen. It's like you're stepping into your own closet in this realm of, okay, if I can't be this, then I guess I need to do something else, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. To fit in, to get, to accomplish what we want, right? Yeah. To achieve something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the same parallel. And that's what I love about doing this show is we keep bringing these different stories that oh, wow, this actually is about someone being in the closet about something. Yeah. So as you started to go through high school and college and stuff, you said this is where you started to literally dial it down.
Exactly. That's exactly the perfect description for it. I just really dialed it down. I figured out how to play the game, even though it wasn't how I would truly play the game, what was authentic to me. I realized what it took to play the game, and I became a really good game player. And so that meant turning the dial down on Raechel, and it meant writing the way other people wanted me to write, showing up to class and participating in class the way people wanted me to, interacting with professors and teachers. And of course, this then carried on into the business world after you get out of the educational system.
Yep.
So dialed down Raechel was how I lived, I think, not the first 25, I guess that after you turn 5.
Yes.
That next 28 years.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I think that's when most of this happens for most of us is usually around 5 or 6, we start to realize, oh, if I'm going to do this or fit in or be accepted or whatever, then that's the pattern. It doesn't matter what the closet stuff is at that point. Exactly. It could be you're too chubby. It could be you're too quiet. You're too loud. You're, quote, too stupid. You're not bright enough. You're too bright, and then before you know it, we are either dialing ourselves down or we're dialing ourselves up even more to just go, okay, I need to be seen. I need to be heard. Right. So as you were going through this, I'm curious because I know, I guess I'll share a little bit of what happened for me is I was dialing myself down through high school and college. That's when I started to really use food as an escape. Mm-hmm. And that's when I also began to use sexual interest as an escape. I would overtly try to be Mr. Dating as many girls as I could. And I would be like, oh, let me show you how much I can eat, which in turn set the tone for stuff that I still battle today. It's like, okay, when I get really to that place, that's what happens. And it's also what carried forward for me in my married life of pretty much becoming very close to a sex addict. Because the only way I could do this was like, okay, let's overtly go find guys. And then when I realized I didn't need to do that. So I'm curious for you, what kind of set in for you as you're dialing yourself down? Because oftentimes as we dial ourselves down, we find other ways to fill the void.
Totally. Yeah. So I would say there was definitely some obsessive and some compulsive things that set in. For sure, food was one of mine, and I think continues to be something that I know that's the first layer of, filling in. I think also then perhaps over-involvement in activities to an obsessive point where I would play as much year-round softball. This was before year-round softball was cool. Now that's the norm.
Yeah.
If you want to do
Except if you live in the north, northern states where it's been, below 8. And if you do play softball, then you got bigger balls than I do because they won't happen.
It was just this nonstop, or exercise. That was the thing. Taking on extra responsibilities. Ultimately, once I was in the business world, it was work. I would be the first person in the office and the last person to leave. It was just, this was my way of somehow filling this void of, the real Raechel without letting it be seen,
It's interesting that you brought that up because I found myself in the work world and actually even in high school and college, but especially once I got into the workplace that I would do these crazy things. I remember the last company that I worked for before I escaped and got my head on straight and said, I'm doing my own thing. I remember we were doing a software implementation. And because I'd come from the software world, it was like second nature to me. But when it came the night to actually do the cutover, I'm like, I've got this. You guys all leave. I've got this, which was insane because the entire company's livelihood rested on me to do the conversion, which I was the logical person to kind of do it.
Totally.
But it was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this because, oh, guess what? I can show up. I can contribute this. And that was one of the very first moments I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? This is insane. Because it drove me to that space of I need to be appreciated. Please let me have this significance. And then even though everybody came back and said, oh, great job and everything was good, I still didn't get what I wanted. Because I wasn't really showing up as myself, which was really like, I really would like some help in here. But I was always afraid to say that because that made me look weak.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I would say for me, like achievement is I definitely identify as a high achiever. And it's one of the ways that I can truly have always been able to feel like I can truly step into like that part of me. I've always been able to feel authentic because it wasn't okay back then to help kids in the classroom, with the ones who are struggling, but I could always take extra classes and be a really good student. So achievement has always been, I guess, probably another way to fill it. It's been it's ones that served me, but
it can also hurt us.
Yeah, it did for sure.
And I can vouch that she's an overachiever. When we have done trainings together, we will be there to support. And so when they needed, us to do our support, she'd come back to the table at the back of her and go, well, how many people did you help? I'm like, seriously? Seriously? Is this a freaking competition? There's the snort. Matt's my producer. I'm going to tell him right now, Matt, please enhance the snort that just happened so that everybody can hear it. But it is that thing that those of us that are those, I guess it is somewhat overachiever, but it's also a piece of, please see me.
Yes, it's
please
exactly
really
what it
see
is.
Me for who I really am.
It's exactly what it is.
And I think so many people get mislabeled as overachievers when all they want to say is, please see me for who I am, my authentic self. Absolutely. But what happens is they make the mistake of they're actually not being their authentic self. They're projecting somebody they're not. Totally. And then they wonder why they're miserable.
Right. And we start to try to achieve in things that either one, don't serve us, or two, aren't things we want to be achieving in. Like, for example, I can't imagine that you want to be known as the person who switched over the software. No. I mean, that's not who you are. I mean, you can do it, but that wasn't,
I know when I tell that story, people are like, really? You? That doesn't seem like you. I'm like, well, no, I do have this side of me that's like Mr. Organized, Mr. Like, okay, but that is not what brings me joy.
Oh, for sure.
Joy is like knowing that there's wine here. That I can pull up. No, but it is that interesting place. And I think many of us, this does, and I never, until you had brought up the whole check minus thing, I never really thought about it, but that's almost a mirror image that I see in so many people that I work with is I'm always the bridesmaid, never the bride sort of concept, which actually Raechel can comment on that too. She's worked with many bridezillas in her career as a coach. So this is all happening for you. When did that light bulb I don't know that it was probably a moment, but maybe it was. Or was it a series of moments?
It was a series of moments in a short period of time. And it's ironic that you bring up the bride piece because it was during that. It was the first time when I had started my coaching company, which was originally called the Recovered Bridezilla, but ultimately became the Sparkling Bride. So when I'd started this, I had a lot of business acumen. I have an MBA, and
that was a big word for you to use, acumen.
Acumen, I know.
Wow.
Mark it down, high achiever.
Okay, she actually had that word written down on a tablet, I'm sure, to go, let's use this word right now.
Yes, I made a list of words here on my computer to make myself.
Here's the overachiever showing up. She would have that. She would have done that. She actually sent me a message 20 minutes ago. Is there anything I need to prepare? I'm like, no. And I'm like, it doesn't matter if I say no. She's going to be prepared. She's going to have all these phrases.
Oh my God.
This is why I love her so much, because we can do this. And I know you all are enjoying this show probably more than many we've had in a while.
Oh, well, that's fun. Yay.
It is fun. Yeah.
Check plus for us.
Okay. Yes, we just went from check minus to check plus. Hold on to your seats, folks. We are in the check plus zone now.
So I'm working this business,
yeah.
And I'm enjoying it. I love coaching. I love helping. And so I'm loving what I'm doing, but there's just something off. There's something off. And so one particular client, I just kind of stepped out of this formal coach role, and I was just like, I just said, what the fuck are you doing? And this is for those who are formally trained as coaches. Yes. That's a big no. That would be check minus. Yeah. So I don't even know if I'd get a check, but it would just be a big flat minus. Yeah. So, and the coach afterwards said, she's just started crying, and I'm like, oh shit, now I've really done it. But she said to me, I needed that 2x4 over the head from the universe or me to say, what are you doing? And that is who the real Raechel, that is what the real Raechel would ask. What are you thinking? Seriously, what are you thinking, Rick? Why are you there by yourself doing the software development? What is wrong with you? Yeah. And I'm not saying it because from a judgy place, but from seriously, what's going on? Help me get where you're operating from, because this isn't serving you.
This is so poignant right now in this moment, because now I'm going to take it all back and make it all about me. So
please do. Please.
But no, this is why I love being with Raechel, because she always says something that's kind of like, okay, I so get this. People have been saying to me, and you've been one of those people over the years, but just in the last 6 months, Rick, we feel like you're just about ready to make that step. But you got to cut loose. And this podcast right now is totally me being in my element. It's this is me. We're laughing. We're joking. I can catch it. I can do it. And I know this is the thing that I have been so, I'm going to say, abrasive to some degree with some of my clients. Okay, come on, seriously, get the fuck over this. Why are you, in fact, I actually said to one of my clients the other day, I said, okay, please explain to me why it's always long distance relationships.
Yep.
Isn't there something wrong that you always choose the wrong distance relationships? Yeah. This is what's screwing you up, man.
Yep.
And when I realized I'd said that, I'm like, oh crap, did I go over the line? But yet my clients, people who want to hear me on the podcast, people who come to listen to me on a stage, that's what they're expecting. And when I show up, and you've seen me do this, so that's why I'm bringing this up. When I show up okay, so let's do this. This is, people just tune out. But the minute I'm brash, I am bold, I am everything that my brand is, this is what people are drawn to. And the same thing, I would assume, is what's actually happened for you.
Absolutely. So it was that.
Okay, she's just agreeing with me now.
I am. No, agreeing with you because it's my
spot on.
It's my point also. So it makes sense that you would agree with me because I'm right. And
oh, Jesus.
But no, in all seriousness, then I was like, okay, I'm going to start to try to be a little bit, incorporate more of me into the sessions, and not in a insert myself into their problem situation, but in just be more me. And I started doing that. And oh my God, all of a sudden I really started looking forward to all the sessions. I got inundated with people who literally by the time 6 months later, I had so many people on my waiting list. My client thing was full. And I kept saying, why are you coming to me? And they're like, my friend Sally said, you asked her the best questions and you made her laugh and you guys had a good time. And I just need that right now as I'm planning my wedding. And so it was this series of moments over a few month period of time where I realized, wow, people are paying me to be me.
Exactly.
This is why they're paying me. Why would I go back to being check minus? I had to convince people to pay me at check minus. Check plus, Raechel being check plus, just being Raechel. People are like, please, can I work with you? Please, can I work with you?
Absolutely. It's interesting because as I was watching the Golden Globes a couple of nights ago, I actually had a very similar thought. I thought, if you really look at the acting, performing world, my feeling, this is just my perspective, is most actors are actually just performing an extension of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
in some really interesting way. Now, there are those really, oddball characters that they go, something completely different. Sure. But when you look at the best performances, there is so much of themselves that they suddenly bring to that character.
Yeah.
The Meryl Streeps of the world. Yep. Well, that's all, she's the only one that matters, just Meryl. But all of them, Natalie Portman, and of course, when Oprah got up, and those who didn't see this, but she brought every bit of herself.
Yep.
And I'm not leaving the guys out, but we're kind of in. Let's recognize the women right now. Mm-hmm. But it is that piece of poor women. I'm with you, girls. Trust me. I'll put my heels on and I'll march with you any day of the week. But it's so interesting because I think that's what people do when they're being authentically who they are.
Totally.
They bring their full self to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you can't do that, then you're in pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in
pain,
anger.
Suffering, struggle. I mean, that would be the number one way if I were to look back. And I enjoyed, as much as I'm giving the education system right now a hard time, I enjoyed school. I mean, but if I look at what I do now, how I wake up every day and how I go about coaching entrepreneurs, there is no struggle. And I would describe my before I came out of the closet, my check minus closet, that was struggle. I was good at it. I figured it out. I made it, but it was struggle.
That's the thing. This is what's so interesting is all of us. Okay, first of all, everybody, you've heard me say this before, I'm going to say it again. All of us are in closets. The thing is about being in the closet is we figure out how to be in the closet. It's one of the simplest things we do. We figure out how to get by. The hardest thing is when we go, okay, I'm not going to be in this closet anymore. There's the real struggle. There's the challenge. But there's also when the freedom happens. But learning how to stay in the closet is pretty damn easy. Because we just give up little chunks, little pieces, sometimes big chunks of ourselves and go, okay, this is just the way it's supposed to be.
Totally. It's a role you're playing. It's scripted for you. You don't, you just figure out how to work within that script, but you're ultimately in a script. It's not your own authentic self. It's not your own book,
So what changed for you after you discovered this?
Life, I would say. So one of the things that, obviously, I shared the business piece that just kind of exploded for me. But, the other, I extend it further into the other more powerful way it's played out is in relationships. And I've been able to be clear about what are the relationships where I was cherished for the check minus work, the inauthentic Raechel, and which ones I was cherished for being Raechel. And I started to shed some of the other relationships that didn't work for me, and some of them honestly were family. So that's been an evolving process over the last 10 years really of this, in trying to figure out how do I stay in that and be loving in that relationship and yet also not show up the way I used to really show up as myself. And I'm not saying it's easy. It is not.
My parents just left a few hours ago, and it was one of the best visits I've had with them. Well, mostly because Dad did lots of work around the house, so that was great. But,
of course.
But love him for that. But what I found so interesting is how I chose to show up.
Yeah.
And it's, people who listen to this podcast for a long time know that there's been struggles with my parents.
Yep.
And it's been one of those where I said, okay, how do I want to show up while they're here? Yes, I knew Dad would be great because he's to the place where just getting to do some stuff around the house is like his therapy, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But he's also the perfectionist, and he got into his perfectionist space while he was here. And I'm just like, let him be there. Just let it be. This is making him happy. And for me, that was a big closet for me to step out of.
Yep.
Because I could have gone into my normal space of just fuck it. Can we just get this done? I have things out, But what I enjoyed was seeing the satisfaction and even seeing the exhaustion that he got into, but it was an exhaustion because he got to do what he really enjoys doing.
Totally.
And I think this is one of the biggest pieces of when you start to let yourself step out of the check minus life and step into the check plus. I'm going to show up fully.
Yep.
I'm going to be who I'm meant to be and step into that space of enjoyment and letting yourself be fully present. Everything changes.
Oh, yeah. The presence is a huge thing because you're no longer...
Now, y'all are going to have to work really hard to get as perfect at it as Raechel and I.
Of course.
We have mastered this. I'm bullshitting you guys right now completely because I guarantee you in the next day or two, we'll probably be on the phone together going, okay, I've got to talk because the check minus gremlin is back.
Yes. A train wreck has happened.
Yeah, wait, right? What's the name of your gremlin again? A minus?
A minus.
Yes, A minus. So, yes. So anytime I get a little message from Raechel now, it's like, A minus in the house, I'll be like, not available, gotta run, girl.
You were such a wonderful friend.
Yeah, well, you're not paying me to coach you, so, hey. Now, I have to tell you, this girl has been by my side over the last month in so many ways. She's been by as I drove back and forth between the houses during the fires and everything. Now, of course, she did have to give me some shit this morning when we first got on the call to go, you didn't mark yourself safe in the mudslides. I'm like, girl, they're not even close to us. Well, how the hell am I supposed to know that? That was what she said. I'm like, okay, so I told her from now on, anything that happens in California, I will mark myself safe, even if it's not anywhere close to
Absolutely, please. I don't have any perspective.
Quite honestly, all joking aside, our hearts and prayers and everything go out to everybody who've gone through the fires and the mudslides. And it's not far from where I am, quite honestly, but it's a good 90 miles away. And it is pretty devastating right now. I'm curious, though, you brought up the entrepreneur world, and because I do have a lot of entrepreneurs who listen to this podcast.
Sure.
What is the biggest check minus you think most entrepreneurs get into? And I know we could start a whole list of stuff.
This is easy. Following other people's prescriptions for your business. For sure. Number one check minus is you look and you see, so-and-so did it this way. I'm going to sign up and take their program. They're going to give me a blueprint or a prescription or a whatever. And you take that and you do it. And you got moderate success, but it's not jiving. I know why. Because you haven't incorporated who you are in that. You haven't applied your own self and your own drive, your own mission, what I like to call your why, you haven't incorporated your own who and your why into that. So it's absolutely check minus is when we see someone else and we go, oh, look what they did. Let's do that.
Now, let's be fair though, too. And I think you just said it to a degree. You can learn so much from some of those people.
Oh yeah,
but
they're great.
The magic formula within so many of these programs is find what works and aligns with who you are.
Absolutely.
And make it your own.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. I follow so many thought leaders. I have taken so many professional development courses. I love it. I love learning. I could take all these people, and not one of them I would say was a waste of my time or money. They're brilliant. But if I
But when you get into the prescription to take the prescription because you think it's going to be the magic healer,
right?
That's where you hurt yourself.
Absolutely.
And I'm right there with you because you and I, many of the paths I've gone down over the years. And when I finally learned that, great, do this. In fact, I just had an opportunity come up and I really looked at it and said, you know what? No, this one is not going to make the checklist this time.
That's right.
Because I really looked at it and said, okay, I've already got this. The older Rick would have said, okay, let's go. Let's go do this because this is going to make it happen for me.
Totally.
And here's my little thing that I think most entrepreneurs do in the check minus column. Well, let's go do this. And then I don't really have to do what I need to be doing.
Yep.
It becomes the perfect distraction from doing this stuff.
Becomes their food, right?
Yes,
And
and before you know it, you spend a whole year feeding yourself and you haven't done anything.
Right. That's how
Speaking of which, I'm really hungry right now. I'm glad you brought that up. So, yes, we've been working around the house today. So, it's like I just haven't had any time to eat.
I'm sorry.
Which isn't a stupid excuse. There's plenty of time to eat. I just haven't taken the time to eat. So, wow. So we could talk about jewelry now. We could talk about how we're the bad kids at the back of the class. But the thing I'd really love to talk about as we wrap up here, first of all, I love this girl so much. We are just best buddies. Yes. She is my grace to my will. And I think one of the things that I admire most about being around you is the energy. And how much does that come forward now that you have released yourself from that check minus?
You know what? I wake up every day, even during really difficult
Thank God you wake up every day.
I know, thank God. Exactly. Well, I wake up every day, even during difficult times, just truly knowing that I have what it takes to get through it. And sometimes it takes more than just what's inside. Sometimes I need my buds like you.
Yep.
But the other thing, like, that kind of goes with what I said before, is just you're able to really truly have these amazing, authentic relationships with others and yourself when you're truly you. I mean, you know me, you know my stuff, you know everything. And I could just be that with you, and I don't feel like I have to apologize for who I am. Those are the people. Those are your people. The ones you don't have to apologize, you know?
And the ones that, you know, even if you do something that they're like, oh my God, they could say, oh my God, and you're not going to take it like, oh, I really screwed up.
Totally.
You know? I mean, even when I ruined one of her favorite pieces of jewelry, she just... Okay, she bitch slapped me really hard and then said, bitch, that was $350. So let's just hand it over now.
I will remit an invoice to you.
Yeah. That's why I haven't given her the new address, so that she cannot remit. And she keeps trying to send stuff to an old email address that she's the only one who gets that email address. And I just delete,
just
you know.
for Raechel.
Yeah, it's just Raechel. So as we wrap up here, if you could give anybody, you know, that Oprah wisdom piece of advice about really stepping into a check plus life, what would it be?
Yeah, I would say surround yourself with people and opportunities that allow you to be you 100%, and you don't have to apologize for who you are.
Oh, apology is such a biggie, isn't it? I mean, I've listened. Okay, so a little bit of tattletale on mom and dad here.
Dear.
But I listened a few times. My mom has the habit of like, I'm so sorry, or I'm so stupid. And years ago I said something to her about it, and I thought, okay, let's see what it's like. And we happened to be with them over New Year's weekend at my brother's, and then had a few days break, and then they came here. She doesn't do it anymore. And it's so interesting.
Interesting.
And I didn't want to bring it up because I'm like, okay, there are no storm clouds other than the rain that's happening. So let's just keep thinking. But it was so powerful to go, wow, I wonder what shifted in her that she doesn't feel the need to say I'm sorry or to, you know, demean herself. Now, you know, I'll be the first to say I'm a big fat slob. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I can demean myself and I can joke about it. Okay, that's fine. But you know, sometimes the self-deprecating humor is what you got to do.
Yes,
you know?
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, Raechel had to one time tell me I just couldn't fit my foot in her high heels that I really wanted to strut around the training room in. But, anyway.
Sure.
Yes, we should write a book. That's what we should do.
We should write a book.
We really should. About, you know, all the escapades that have actually taught people many, many things in the years that we were doing stuff together. So, not that we don't do much together. Well, we do.
We sometimes have an impact. I don't know.
Yeah, like when we back into the cars and the bars, you know.
Exactly.
Those kind of impacts are usually. Yeah. Or when we knock drinks over when we're at the bar. Okay, we don't really drink that much, usually.
No.
So,
we have different coping habits.
We do. She knows I'm a wino. She just knows that when Rick's in the house, it's wino time. So, but anyway. Well, girlfriend, this has been an awesome way to bring the new year in.
For sure.
I love this concept that you just shared, and love you dearly, and thank you for sharing yourself today with the audience. And
love you too. This has been fun.
She was really nervous. She's like, really? I don't have to, you know, here's the like control freak. There's no script. I'm like, no, you just got to, you know, like wing it. Like we do at the back of the classrooms. Okay. We're at the back of the classroom again. You know, we're going to wing it.
That's right. And it was a blast. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here and doing what you do and being who you are and always showing up authentically. I just love it. Can't wait to do it again sometime really soon. So thanks, darling.
Thank you. Thank you for being you. What a gift you are to me. Sure.
Nobody can be either one of us. So that's what we've learned.
There we go.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right.
And that's it. That's a wrap. Another episode of Life Uncloseted has come to an end. But don't worry, we'll be back in just a couple of days with another episode with new guests, new tips, new tricks, new wisdom about how you can go live your life uncloseted. And you know what? A lot of people out there may not even know we exist. So if you feel so compelled, share us. Tell people about it. Give us a rating and review on iTunes. Share it from your phone. Wherever you can, spread the word, because the more people that we reach, the better the planet will be when everybody is living their life uncloseted. I'm Rick Clemens, the host of the show, that big, bold move expert, and that guy that constantly wants to help people step out, step up, and step into living their life uncloseted. Have a great couple of days, everyone, and we will be right back with you very, very soon. Take care.